The NJAC, the National Joint Action Committee, was the leading Black Power movement in the 70s in Trinidad and Tobago. In their effort to unite the Afros and Indos population of Trinidad and Tobago, a similar movement was born. It was called WULF, the Western United Liberation Front, a loose grouping of unemployed men in the western suburbs of Port of Spain. It was formed from the United Liberation Front Party. In the 1960s, the working class of unemployed young men formed themselves into militant groups. In the St. James suburbs, there was the Block 4 and Block 5 militant groups. This group, WULF, organized in the suburbs of St. James, was formed from the militant Block 5 group. WULF adopted the rhetoric and style of the Black Power movement. While WULF consisted largely of unemployed young men, it also included active members of the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment.
The collapse of the Army Mutiny was the impetus for the formation of the NUFF. This is what actually transpired. My name is Malcolm Jai Kernahan, co-founder of NUFF.
The NUFF, National Union of Freedom Fighters, was an armed Marxist group in Trinidad and Tobago, active in the aftermath of the 1970 Black Power Revolution. The group fought a guerrilla warfare campaign to overthrow the government of Dr. Eric Williams, following the failed Black Power uprising and the unsuccessful attempted army mutiny in the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment. According to Malcolm Jai Kernahan, there was communication between members of WULF, Shaw and LaSalle, when the mutiny occurred. Brian Jeffers, the ex-soldier, the de facto leader of WULF, and other members of the group, took up arms and headed to the hills above Port of Spain to meet up with the mutineers, who were stationed west of the city. When the mutineers surrendered, ex-soldier Jeffers, the de facto leader, decided to continue with the goal of overthrowing the Eric Williams government, through armed rebellion. In the late 1971, Kernahan left WULF in St. James and returned to his hometown of Faizabad. In the oil fields of South Trinidad, with its history of militant trade unionism. There he found people receptive to the idea of engaging in guerrilla insurgency. He then gathered a group of activists and established a guerrilla warfare training camp in the forest. Ideologically, NUFF was anti-imperialist and anti-capitalist. They opposed both the foreign investors who controlled much of the economy and the local elites. They were noticed for the extent to which women played an active role in the organization, including women guerrilla fighters. Shortly after the shooting of the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard commanding officer Commander David Bloom, an attempt on the life of the chief prosecutor of the 1970 mutiny, Mr. Theodore Guerra, was made. Both gentlemen survived the attempts on their lives. The shootings give the militants of NUFF credibility among the NJAC members who were disenchanted with what is perceived to be the organization's nearly complete collapse, following the arrest of its leadership. Guy Harewood and several other activists from Port of Spain area joined the group in the aftermath of the shooting.
That is what I am talking about, militant soldiers. NUFF means business. I am Guy Harewood and I am joining NUFF.
NUFF leadership saw themselves as a vanguard organization who would draw the working class into revolutionary thinking. Believing revolution to be imminent, they embraced the FOCO theory advanced by Debray and Guevara, which suggested the idea that a small mobile guerrilla force, living off the land, could trigger a popular uprising. NUFF saw themselves as being the ones who could guide the spearhead of history to its target. Kirkland Paul, writing from death row, awaiting execution for the murder of Police Constable Austin Sonkar, wrote, "Our just struggle seeks to pull down from their cradle of totalitarian power and authority the despotic ruling class." On 31st May, 1972, Kernahan's group, NUFF, attacked an estate police station belonging to the American Oil Company, Texaco. They stole 6 guns and 1,000 rounds of ammunition.
Get down on the ground now. We need all your guns and ammunitions.
Get down now. We need all your guns and ammunitions.
Get down, get down, get down now. Where are the rest of the guns? On the ground now.
The following day, June 1, 1972, Kernahan's group, NUFF, armed to the teeth, robbed the Barclays Bank branch located at the St. Augustine campus of the University of the West Indies. The rough forested terrain of the northern range provided safety for NUFF approximately 3 dozen guerrilla fighters.
Okay people, NUFF is here. We need all your money now. You rich people, we need our money now. NUFF respect.
The following month, on 1st of July, a group of guerrilla fighters returning from the northern range were intercepted at a police roadblock and a gunfight ensued. One NUFF guerrilla fighter, Hilary Valentine, was killed and 3 policemen were injured. Valentine funeral attracted 4,000 mourners. On 23 February, 1973, the Barclays Bank on Tragarit Road in Port of Spain was robbed by 5 men and 1 woman, who was later identified as Andrea Jacob. They stole 100,000 TT dollars, equivalent to 20,800 pounds, and a security guard's revolver. Acting on a tip, the police led by Assistant Superintendent Randolph Burrows ambushed a group of NUFF fighters at a safe house in Laventille later that day. 4 NUFF fighters were killed, including John Beto and Jamaican sociologist Brian Meeks. On June 1st, NUFF guerrillas used gelignite to destroy a transformer at the Textile Earth Station, Trinidad and Tobago's international satellite link, and left a message for the police superintendent Mr. Burrows, "If you want us, come and get us in the bush." Police responding to the incident were ambushed by the guerrillas, who wounded 4 of them. Mr. Burrows was admired by the Trinidad middle-class elite and despised by the black radicals. On August 6th, insurgents attacked a Trinidad Tesoro Oil Company police station in South Trinidad, stealing weapons and money. The following day, a group of 9 guerrillas attacked Mathalot police station, where 1 policeman was on duty. He was captured along with 13 shotguns, a pistol and ammunition. The insurgents set explosives in the building, but released their captive unharmed. These attacks prompted a joint operation by the army and police against the rebels. The government offered large rewards for Brian Jeffers, Guy Harewood, and Andrea Jacob. The offer of rewards for the capture of NUFF guerrillas, coupled with the use of increasingly repressive measures to obtain information from suspects, allowed the police to ambush the northern group at their kill. Fighters escaped with minor injuries. The attack showed the benefits of the police change in tactics. On the 13th September 200 police and soldiers surprised the guerrillas in Cora, where they had retreated after the Valencia attack. A NUFF sentry at the camp was killed. Jennifer Jones was captured. As the insurgents fled the attack at the camp, Kenneth Tenia and Jennifer's sister, Beverly Jones, were killed by police. The killing of Beverly Jones and the arrest of her sister Jennifer Jones drew an international response. Historian and political activist CLR James sent a telegram to Dr. Eric Williams, deploring the violent death of Beverly Jones, demanding an immediate release of Jennifer Jones. Protest organized at the Trinidad and Tobago High Commission in London, including members of the British Black Panthers, whose leader Althea Jones LaCointe, the elder sister of Jennifer and Beverly. After the attack on the NUFF guerrilla camp at Cora, NUFF was left defensive. Police were on their heels, people were selling us out and we just kept running from ambush to ambush, recounted former NUFF member Terrence Thornhill. In 1996, in an interview with Meeks, Guy Harewood was killed by the police in Coorep on October 17, 1973, leaving NUFF effectively broken. Their last major activist, Clem Haynes, was captured by the police in Laventille in November 1974, marking the end of the guerrilla movement. Overall, between 18 and 20 NUFF members and 3 policemen were killed over the course of the insurgency.
Hi, my name is Clem Haynes. This is what took place at Cora that day, because I was there.
I vividly remember a small group of us reached the hills of Cora on the 11th of September 1973. On the way to Cora, it was very challenging than other marches, in that the exchange of gunfire was so intense, that there was hardly time to gather much of our food stuff and hammocks, and so we had to trek over the hills and mountains, surviving on mangoes and coconuts after our rations ran out. There was a lot of rain later on that day, and I remember when night time came and we were all soaked in our clothes, a comrade who escaped with his hammock offered it to Beverly, who she politely refused and told him that she was a guerrilla and she did what the rest of us had to do: spread broadleaves on the ground and crouch, as possible, to generate some kind of warmth while having a leaf over our ear in order to avoid the heavy raindrops from getting into it, as the heavy rain descended upon us. That was the caliber of woman Beverly Jones was: brave, politically conscious, and knew what she was about. It was just after 7 a.m. and I was slightly asleep on my piece of plastic when I suddenly the chattering of a machine gun, just after Jennifer, Beverly's sister, went on guard duty. Realizing that it was an ambush, I took cover behind a tree, looking to see if Jennifer would come back up the hill. When she did not return, we thought she was killed, so we decided to get to the top of the ridge, and when we did, we observed a lot of boot prints. We decided to go back down the hill. While doing so, a voice from the top of the ridge shouted out, "Drop your guns!" And the soldiers opened fire on us. Everyone dived to the ground and took cover, and when I looked to my right to survey the scene, I saw Comrade Kenneth Tenia, who was about to crawl over a log for better cover, was shot in his head and he died instantly. After a while I looked to my left and I saw Beverly was wounded. A bullet to the side of her face which showed some of her teeth, and another shot to her leg. When she could not resist any longer and started to become weaker, she asked for some water, and 2 brothers took her down to the river. While giving her the water, there was some cracking in the bushes and they had to move again and again until the very last time, when she was placed under a green blanket to try to camouflage her. Suddenly some soldiers appeared shooting very rapidly, and there was no time to pick her up again, and the soldiers opened fire on her and murdered her right there under the blanket. Although I said it many times before and I'll say it again: farewell, brave soldier of the oppressed.